Hello, my name is Kyle. So I'd like to tell you about the mission trip I went to about 1 week ago, and I recently just came back on Saturday, August 28th, and I'd say that the filter of the trip I went to for the Dominican Republic was a very positive experience. So I partnered with the Filter of Hope. Um, they are their mission is to give the gift of clean water to communities around the world, and through water filters, and also share the gospel and the good news of share the good news of Jesus Christ. Overall, I I am very happy and grateful that I got the opportunity to go on this trip. Some really great highlights are that the the translators did a very great job, and they worked perfectly with our groups, and I got to form really long lasting connections with the people who I lived with there, my group members who I had to maybe share bathrooms with, and also and also the the very welcoming folks over in the village of Pancho Mateo, which we visited in over in the Dominican Republic. And I think that um, my most significant experience is that I got to grow comfortable about sharing my faith and sharing the gospel with people. Because before, I think I'd always be very scared about maybe thinking so much about how to share as if it were formulaic, and not just going off of my own experiences, or just pointing back to the water filter, because really the water filter filters dirty water. But this water filter, when it filters dirty water, it tells us so much about ourselves and our sin, and how we all need Jesus Christ to save us and save us from our sins both, and how his death has and how he died for us, and so we can enjoy the gift and inheritance from God in his kingdom. So some I guess some minor inconveniences I had during the trip were maybe the amount of mosquitoes. Um, in the DR, I kept getting bit by mosquitoes, and it may be the heat. It was consistently about high 80s Fahrenheit, and 90% humidity every single day I was there. I was in the Dominican Republic for about five nights, and it gets uncomfortable, and certainly my stomach was not used to the food, so I got frequent I had diarrhea pretty frequently. But when I think back to just the benefits that these water filters I brought from the United States, our group, 19 of us, brought about 80 water filters. Each of these filters can last 10 years. They have to be cleaned once every day for them to work, or they die within a week. Just thinking back, that many of our very nice and generous folks just donated money so that they can cover the cost of our trips, translators, food, lodging, and of course the water filters. It's just so wonderful that so many people want to bring clean water to the communities, and also show the people a better life through life with God. And these water filters, were from were brought all the way from the United States to to the Dominican Republic, and we and it was not like we were just giving away those water filters. We had to travel. We had to make about a 10-hour flight from Seattle all the way to New Jersey, and then New Jersey to Dominican Republic. So that's combined 10 hours, and the journey was kind of difficult, and of course, again, these water filters were not free. They have to be paid for, and I think that's what made the trip really worth it in my experience. And just seeing some of the people who I talked to, who maybe had to give up their chance to go see a doctor because they were taking care of their mentally handicapped child, and didn't want to leave them behind while they went to go see a doctor for two really large blisters on their right leg. Or also another really memorable experience is just walking into this man's who was also a shopkeeper and also painter as his hobby, and just seeing the drawings on the walls inside of his place, which also was a gun range, BB airsoft gun range, and he had he mentioned that his filter that the filter would then clean up the water he used for painting and then create way better pictures. So just something to maybe consider about how going on a mission trip, especially as a believer, is really transforming and meaningful for growing and meeting, and more importantly meeting more believers in other countries, and to see and just interact with them and to just ask them and just be curious about them. And it's all about, I think, sharing the gospel is easy because it's mainly about the people and their stories and how Christ saved them and saved all of us. So some other highlights of this trip were that I went to a huge waterfall about 27. It's called the 27 Waterfalls, and I got to jump off about a 25 foot high ledge into a body of water, and the water came from the mountain. So there were many canyons that were carved out through thousands of years, and as a result, that place is a top 2 eco-tourist spot in the world, ecotourism spot in the world. And unfortunately, on this trip, when one of our team members went with us, there were about 19 of us going to the waterfalls for our little break day on Thursday before we just resumed on Friday, visiting the community of Pancho Mateo. We had a woman named Carol. She was 67, and she also happened to be the trip leader, Dusty's mom. So Carol, for the first jump from the waterfall into actually off a wooden platform into a body of water about maybe 15 feet deep. She landed in the water fine, and then however she cracked 3 vertebrae when she landed in the water, and she had to be transported to a hospital. And and it was a very painful experience for her and for our group too. And I think the way God worked through maybe something took something like that tragic and worked His plan was that it brought the whole group closer together in just caring for someone who to some of us we barely know, because and that just demonstrated how even under God we're all just one great big family under Him, and we care very much for the well-being of our brothers and sisters. And Carol currently is back in Florida. She just had a spinal fusion. As far as I know, she's now able to walk. However, she will still need a few more days before she can be released from the hospital and make it back to her home in Olympia, Washington. So on the trip back from the Dominican Republic, only 16 of us went back. Carol's husband and Carol's son Dusty went to Fort Lauderdale with her, so she could undergo an operation because of the quality of healthcare in the United States being better than Dominican Republic. Certainly, I'd say this trip has been transformational. I definitely was put a lot out of my comfort zone in perhaps having to adjust to a new environment, or not having the best air conditioning in my room and having to always have a really loud fan near me, and maybe just having to spray myself with bug spray every single day, and be in the really hot sun wearing jeans and a long shirt. But the locals there in the village we visited were very receptive. They were very open they had their hearts already open to Christ, and because the work of the local church we partnered with, I forgot the name of that church, but they did a very great job, and in just sharing the word about God. So at least majority of people who we would talk to knew about who God was, and quite a few had already started their walk with Christ before we talked to them and installed the water filter. So it kind of shows as how it told me how Christianity in other countries are all different from each other. I'd say there are definitely more believers in the Dominican Republic than the United States. Maybe zooming into Seattle, maybe on college campuses there are less Christians, and I also got to just experience the different culture. And throughout the trip, when we shared the gospel, the translators would help us so much. God bless them. And I really reinvigorated my desire to to learn, to continue learning languages, because that's what connects us together. How we can talk to each other and and share the same hopes and dreams. I noticed that many Dominicans have the same hopes, and many Dominican youth like me. They some, especially in those villages, at the age of 17 or 18, started a family, so they couldn't finish high school, or they they did not go to college. But when we told them where we were from, what we did, what we valued, what we want to do, they were really shaped. They were really influenced, and from one Filter of Hope rep by the name of Gabe, he told us that one of the people in the village, we in the past listened to what one of the Filter of Hope members traveling, one of the people installing water filters and sharing the gospel said was really inspiring for a woman to who was a really young mom, perhaps about age 20, to just go to college and get a degree. So it's just regardless of the cultural, regardless of cultural or ethnic differences, everyone wants to be successful and to thrive and flourish, and they seek to make themselves better, whether it be through getting a good job, or advancing their education. And so far, I'd say that this Filter of Hope trip is definitely worth it to go. There are also other places that Filter of Hope goes to every week of the or at least monthly. There are people from different universities around the United States who make mission trips to either maybe Guatemala or Cuba, or maybe it's in places as far as Pakistan or Afghanistan. And certainly there are many opportunities throughout your life to serve. And I think a mission trip is it's certainly a way to just revive your wants, revive your want and thirst for being with God, and seeking Jesus Christ daily. And definitely something you will remember in your life for the rest of your life.